This video is not intended for everyone. If you are content with the way the world is today, then don't watch this video, because if you do, you will go on an emotional roller coaster ride like you've never been on before.
Hearts and good nature. Yeah, Ken.
Mr. President, earlier this year you told us you had ordered your administration to cease and desist on payments to journalists to promote your agenda. You cited the need for ethical concerns and the need for a bright line between the press and the government. Your administration continues to make the use of video news releases, which are prepackaged news stories sent to television stations, fully aware that some or many of these stations will air them without any disclaimer that they are produced by the government. Comptroller General of the United States this week said that raises ethical questions. Does it raise ethical questions about the use of government money to produce stories about the government that wind up being aired with no disclosure that they were produced by the government?
There is a Justice Department opinion that says these pieces are within the law so long as they're based upon facts, not advocacy. I expect our agencies to adhere to that ruling, to that Justice Department opinion. It's been a long-standing practice of the federal government to use these types of videos. Agricultural Department, as I understand, has been using these videos for a long period of time. The Defense Department, other departments have been doing so. It's important that they be based upon the guidelines set out by the Justice Department. Now, I think it'd be helpful if local stations then disclose to their viewers if that's, that this was based upon a factual report and they chose to use it. But evidently in some cases that's not the case. So anyway.
To guarantee that's happening by including that language in the prepackaged report.
No, I don't, look. Oh, you mean a disclosure? I'm George W. Bush, and I...
Well, some way to make sure it couldn't air without the disclosure that you believe is so vital.
Ken, I mean, there's a procedure that we're going to follow, and the local stations ought to, if there's a deep concern about that, ought to tell their viewers what they're watching.
Part 1 of this video is going to show you a few small techniques that the average actor knows that they employ to create new characters, to generate more income for themselves when it comes to getting different roles and different acting jobs. Every actor is trained in makeup techniques and lighting, and they know at least the basics when they enter into either the modeling or the acting field. These are classes that are taught by the agencies that they attend. The use of effects and post-production is something of more of a Hollywood budget or more of a technical background that most of these people don't have, but still at least they can employ the techniques of makeup, and they know how to manipulate their faces and hair and do things that would make the average person not realize when that face is taken from real life and put into the medium of the TV when you see it through the screen in a two-dimensional form. So keep that in mind when you see the rest of the actors that are playing multiple roles right in front of your eyes, and it'll make a little bit more sense to you next time you see them. The second part is going to discuss the ethical and the moral decision that these actors make when they decide to take their jobs from the entertainment world and move them into being a more political activist type of job. The first time that it happens, if they're tricked, that may be one thing, but as they continue to pop up scene after scene, event after event, in unrelated events, then the question has to be asked, why are they doing this? What are they getting out of it other than money? I'm going to show you some key events that have shaped this nation in Section 3 and Section 4 of this video, that you will get a better understanding of why it is so important for us to understand what this TV is, what the images that we see on it are, and how we are supposed to react and store that information. before we begin, I want to show you some examples of how lighting and makeup can change a person's face to an extreme degree. Now as you look at these eyes, and I flip back and forth between the layer that's underneath them, I want you to notice the pupils don't move, but you'll notice that the lighting and the makeup has changed on both the subjects. So it gives the nose the illumination from one side to the other that makes it look much different than it actually is. Now I'll take the guides off, and we'll do it again. So there's a drastic difference between the shape of the nose just when it comes to the lighting and the actual lens and makeup. Now this is the same person again, on a different angle slightly, so you can see the angle changes again the width of the nose. The makeup being used changes the eye shape, changes the direction it looks, and makes it look like a totally different person. The different types of lenses and the filters on the light cut the actual drastic proportions of the nose and make it so that it's more of a blur and make it look wider. Now the slight change of the face when it comes to the angle of the view, the point of view of the camera, just shifting a little bit, gives the eyes a whole different shape and size and the eyebrows a whole different shape and size. The use of Photoshop to change the color of the pupils is easy. And now we'll show you, there's the change, the difference, the change that you probably didn't see unless I put that center of the face marker. Now all these different little aspects change the overall image that you see, as you probably didn't see that much of a difference in the angle without those markers. So these are things you have to consider when you're looking at a photograph. Now I'm going to show you the reality behind these reality stories, these reality news and reality TV shows. They're far from reality. And the actors that are used in these shows, you would think that it's really harmless for them to do what they're doing, but in essence they're tricking you into seeing something and believing in something that isn't reality, and that can always lead to just bad things in general. Then when we see those same individuals then taking the leap from reality TV shows into news stream events, mainstream events that we are led to believe that are real, then you definitely have a problem. Especially when the mainstream media doesn't tell you that these individuals are actors. And of course, why would they? Because they want to trick you. Their whole point of what they're doing is to lie to you, to deceive you. So when you start to see these actors show up in all different types of shows, and then you put them all together, you understand that everything, it's all fake. It's all there to condition you into seeing something that's not real. So hopefully you'll take away the understanding from this video that the television is not to be taken seriously, other than it is a serious problem. Now maybe you'll remember this individual. Not too long ago, this was on the news, and I thought it was pretty funny when you find out who it actually is.
The FBI has reignited a cold case that has haunted the Bureau for years.
A simple little bit of advice. Whenever you see this talking head, you can pretty much rest assured it's going to be a fake story. I'm not going to play you the entire clip, so we're going to skip through to the important part of who he's talking to.
Who do you think that D.B. Cooper is?
Well, I'm certain he was my uncle, Lynn Doyle Cooper. My uncle L.D. was wearing a white t-shirt and he was bloody.
Now this actor, you might know her better as Rachel Zoe.
It's, I don't know, I'm working, the vision of what the designers do, what the magazine editors do, and just kind of growing up around that, my fashion icons, like, it's just something I always wanted to do. I just didn't know I could make a career out of it.
And bruised and a mess, and I was horrified. I began to cry. I asked them what happened.
Now you might be asking yourself, why is this important? Well, just stick with me here for a little bit and you're going to see how it gets important. See, on the Rachel Zoe show, she has a character, since now you know that the show is fake and it's scripted. She has a character that was an assistant that left. Here he is.
With Anne's performance dress. What's wrong? The tool on the top part of the dress is kind of causing a little bit of skin irritation.
Oh my God.
I'm worried that it's gonna become like a huge problem. To rise to the occasion like I never have before.
Now this person that you see here, he's also a character. This isn't a real person. This is somebody that's reading a part that's written on a script, because he's actually another actor that you've known from another show.
The only other option that I have is to stay, and I know that's not an option for me. So I'm gonna make Ashley cry. I hope my hair looks okay.
Alright, so you got Rachel Zoe's ex-assistant, or whatever his name was. I don't watch the show, so... But anyway, he plays the guy named Bentley in the recent Bachelorette TV show, supposed reality show, which you'll see now that's false too. The funny thing is that the person that is supposedly his ex-wife in real life, supposedly...
Oh, come on.
Well, that's one of the many moments from Monday night's Bachelorette that made Bentley the most hated man in America.
It did, and this morning, we're talking to the woman who's been married to him. Suzette Davis is Bentley's ex-wife and mother of their adorable 2-year-old daughter, Cosette. Good morning, Suzette.
Cosette. That's pretty funny, too. That's almost as good as Pepe Escobar with Tony Greenberg. So anyway, this actor right here, who is supposed to be his ex-wife, is none other than the character Rachel Zoe again. And you'll see something that's really even crazier. Now, as you can see, the makeup that they use around the lips like this is called Old Age Stipple. It's a foam latex rubber that makes the skin basically bunch up and wrinkle when it dries. So it's very easy to do that, plus then they cake on the makeup on top of that, and makes her look much older than she is. But then we just adjust the opacity, making the top layer transparent, and we can see underneath, again, they're the same person. Look, she's even wearing the same earrings. It's very simple to Photoshop the eyes. As you can see in the video of Rachel Zoe, that's not her real color of her eyes. So, now, here's where it starts to get interesting. You see, Cosette, their supposed child, here she is none other than the child that they used for last year's season of The Bachelor as Emily's child, Ricky. Supposedly her ex died in a plane crash. She was a race car driver and left her alone, not knowing she was pregnant with the child. Good story. This is supposedly Rick and her, but notice the ring on her finger. That's the same one that the Bachelor, Brad, picked out and gave her. So now that you know that that show's fake, now we want to take a look at this actor, this Emily, because Emily is the same person as Zoe and as Bentley's ex-wife, but she also is in the media as an actor, again, for other fake media events, and here we see her at a younger age on the news.
It was bloody murder.
Stop.
Yeah, make sure you notice, again, it's from Phoenix.
Then this guy comes from over here, just shooting.
Mike Oates is one of 5 people grazed by a bullet. He now has a small puncture wound on his right shoulder.
Oh, he was crazy. He's trying to control everything in the house like that.
Joe Zamudio was inside Walgreens, and no sooner did he hear those shots than he...
And I just ran that way towards where that noise came from.
So I guess once you've been approved to do one of these fake media events, then you're just, they use you over and over again whenever they can because they know you can trust you.
He opted to keep most of his comments to himself.
I felt like there was nothing we could say to him that was going to matter. There's nothing that's going to matter to that kid except a needle on that.
The shooting started here in the front yard, and when everyone heard the gunshots, they ran into the backyard, jumped over that fence, and started running.
I just grabbed him and we just ran.
Bianca Vent grabbed an 8-year-old boy grazed by bullet fragments and helped him crawl over a fence to safety. His mom was shot and killed, and police say his dad is the shooter.
And he's like, what happened to my mom? Where's my mom? I feel like I could see me spending the rest of my life with him. And he cried a little bit, but I think he was just so confused. He didn't know what to think.
Bianca and the 8-year-old took shelter inside a stranger's house down the block.
So you say to yourself that, well, this is sort of harmless fun where they're just taking a part as an actor would in any type of role, and basically that's it. Well, I have to disagree with that because these actors are crossing the ethical lines. There's boundaries that they have to abide by. Now, not only do they, but the people that are producing these spots and actually propagating them across the globe as real, that is a serious crime in my position here. Now, the act of social manipulation is in itself harmful, as we can see that this country is where it is right now because of the fact that we've been socially manipulated by the mass media. We've been basically conditioned into thinking certain ways, and we think that that way of thinking is founded on factual information when it's not. All those facts that we thought were solid are out the window, and our foundation now has been based on something that's a lie. So we see that there is a harm when it comes to these actors playing this type of role. Now we take it to the next level of the fact that in that little clip we saw Joe Zamudio, one of the actors in the Gabrielle Giffords drill. That in itself is the next level of corruption, the next level of social manipulation and perception management, and the fact that it was propagated by our government again, and still is supported by those key figures in our government that are trying to push for agenda changers like the guns being removed from the population. That, by definition of Homeland Security, is a domestic terrorist act, because any threat of violence or any violent act in order to persuade or to get change of political policies is considered terrorism. So these people need to be held accountable. Now we're going to show you some more examples of actors that have made the jump from just entertainment and the ethical problems that I have sort of with the social manipulation at that point to the even bigger problem of taking part in a domestic terrorist drill.
One former classmate called Cho the question mark kid because he once wrote a question mark on a sign-up sheet instead of his name. Sarah Stevens is a junior here at Virginia Tech and a former CBS News intern.
You caught that correct? A CBS intern. Now, she's also a Dave Weiss associate, and we're going to get into that in a moment and find out who she really is.
She and Cho were in the same playwriting class. Talk to me about his demeanor. What was he like in class?
I wish I could say more about his demeanor, but honestly, I had classes with him for 3 years, and he was known as being expressionless. He usually sat in class and I never heard him speak once in 3 years.
Which is so unusual. You're in English classes
Exactly.
It's all about self-expression.
Exactly, and so that's why until this playwriting class, I had no idea as to what his mental state was like. I had no idea as to what kind of personality he had because...
As mentioned, she's a Dave Weiss associate. Dave Weiss's Facebook friends list has many interesting people that you should look at. We'll get into some more of those people in the next section after this, and I think you're going to be very surprised at what you find out.
Next,
Dr. Phil.
Have you ever felt abused by the system? She says she found herself battered and in jail after a routine airport security check.
He slams my head against the table. My God, I'm getting beaten up.
She is mad as hell, and she's going to do something about it.
Suing is American.
Play for no one. Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker recently featured one of these lonely, wealthy ladies who puts it all out there. So get a load of this load. Oh my God, there's all these guys here. They're all for me. I love football. Will you tackle me?
Absolutely.
Anthony said he would tackle me, which I actually really enjoy because I love a guy who tackles me. What do you do?
I'm a plumber, actually.
I love plumbers.
I'm hugging a lot.
And remember, she's not the only one that's identified in the Pima County Sheriff Dubnik's annual awards as being part of the Jason Guard lie. Everybody that's involved in that is in those books. Now, the other people that are involved in all the other events show up in either those books or they show up in Dave Weiss, his Facebook friends list.
They were all roommates. They spoke today with CNN's Gary Tuckman.
What kind of roommate was he?
He was pretty quiet, really.
He talked about something called lucid dreaming.
Simply being able to
clean. Not one you can complain about, really, to start off with.
Control your dreams.
Like trying to, they're telling him all these things, but he doesn't know.
I mean, everyone wants a quiet roommate, right?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't friendly by any means. He was just
about a person trying to struggle what his real waking.
Sometimes I guess you would say rude, the way.
This is my first year helping out with Hoagie Helper.
Now remember, I've already exposed Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, for their roles in the Columbine drill. Now again, we see Trey playing his role in another school drill that was sold to us as being a live real world event. Now the next section that we're going to discuss, you're going to see some of these individuals in this same film here that Trey is in. These individuals you can find in Dave Weiss's Facebook friends list. They are the members of SEAL Team 6. All of them are in his Facebook friends list. And I'll tell you a little story about what happened when Dave confronted me not too long ago about it.
And why did I do it? Just because of the Hokie spirit that we have here on campus.
Colin Carroll, long snapper for the Virginia Tech football team, and we're out here today on this beautiful day. We're helping Vince Painter and Courtney Prince are hard at work, as you can tell. So we're having a lot of fun. I'm here with Madison Schuler, freshman at Virginia Tech. Madison, what does it mean for you to have the Virginia Tech football players helping out today?
It's awesome. We got some heavy lifting, getting all my stuff in. It's a big help because...
As you can see, all the members of SEAL Team 6 are found in Dave Weiss's Facebook friends list. Not only are they found there, but several of the individuals involved in the Gabrielle Giffords event and missing individuals across the country, like the missing teen Holly Bobo, and other individuals are all found in this Facebook friends list. Now Dave contacted me about 3 weeks ago, and he threatened me with a lawsuit if I didn't remove his images and his name and all the pictures that I had on my website. I told him, I said, you know, you go ahead and do what you got to do, because 2 of your friends now have come forward and they want to tell me all about, and they're part of the SEAL Team 6, the group that you organized and put together. So they've told me a lot about what you've done. And the next thing I knew, Dave pulled all his photographs off his Facebook friends list, including his own, and that's it, blocked me. But of course I get around that. But actions speak louder than words, and his spoke volumes. Now in the next video, you're going to learn about how people in his Facebook friends list are tied to the Fort Hood shooting and are also tied to the Occupy movement today. Same individuals you'll see in 9/11 and also in the G20. I'll go over them in great detail in this next video, but I wanted to get this out to you so you can have something to get the word out with and build awareness to what we're talking about.